Welcome to Framework, the podcast that makes the NIST cybersecurity framework practical, engaging, and accessible. Whether you're a cybersecurity professional, business leader, or simply curious about how organizations defend against cyber threats, this series is for you. This podcast is inspired by a comprehensive guide to the NIST Cybersecurity Framework 2.0, a best-selling resource written by cybersecurity expert Dr. Jason Edwards and trusted by professionals worldwide. In each episode, we'll leverage a few insights from Jason's extensive book to dive deep into CSF 2.0, unpacking every function, category, and subcategory with real-world applications you can immediately use. If you're enjoying this episode and want to learn more, head over to cyberauthor.me to grab your copy of the book and access additional resources to enhance your cybersecurity journey. You can also visit baremetalcyber.com, where over 2 million people last year explored expert insights, articles, and practical tools across a wide range of cybersecurity topics. GV.RR-04, Embedding Cybersecurity in HR Practices. GV.RR-04 ensures that organizations integrate cybersecurity considerations into human resources policies, processes, and workforce management practices, ensuring that security awareness, access controls, and risk management are embedded throughout the employee life. This subcategory belongs to the govern function within the National Institute of Standards and Technology's Cybersecurity Framework version 2.0, emphasizing that cybersecurity must be a foundational element in hiring, training, performance evaluations, and termination procedures to reduce insider threats, enforce security accountability, and strengthen the organization's security culture. Without structured cybersecurity integration in human resources practices, organizations risk poor employee security awareness, weak access control enforcement, and increased exposure to insider threats, social engineering attacks, and compliance violations. Embedding cybersecurity in human resources practices ensures that security policies, workforce training programs, and personnel risk management strategies align with the organization's security objectives. A structured approach to integrating cybersecurity into human resources allows organizations to develop security-aware hiring practices, enforce security access control measures based on employment status, and ensure that departing employees do not retain unauthorized system access. Organizations that establish formal cybersecurity training programs, enforce structured access management policies, and integrate cybersecurity responsibilities into employee performance management frameworks enhance their ability to reduce human error, security incidents, and mitigate insider threats. Multiple stakeholders play a role in embedding cybersecurity in human resources practices. Human resources teams and hiring managers ensure that new employees receive security awareness training, security roles are clearly defined in job descriptions, and security responsibilities are integrated into performance evaluations. IT security teams and identity management administrators implement role-based access controls, ensure proper user provisioning and deprovisioning, and oversee security monitoring of employee activities to detect potential insider threats. Executive leadership and compliance teams ensure that cybersecurity human resources policies align with regulatory compliance requirements, industry best practices, and organizational risk management objectives. Cybersecurity is embedded in human resources practices through structured security training programs, formal security role definitions in employment contracts, and continuous employee monitoring and access management strategies. This includes developing cybersecurity security onboarding and offboarding procedures, ensuring that all employees receive ongoing security awareness education, and enforcing multi-factor authentication for workforce access to critical systems. Organizations that fail to integrate cybersecurity into human resources practices risk increased insider threat incidents, weak enforcement of access control policies, and inadequate employee security awareness, leading to data breaches, compliance failures, and financial losses. Several key terms define cybersecurity integration in human resources and its role in enterprise security governance. Insider threat management ensures that organizations monitor and mitigate risks associated with employees, contractors, and third-party vendors who have access to sensitive data and systems. Security-aware hiring practices involve integrating cybersecurity background checks, security role assessments, and pre-employment security training into recruitment processes. Role-based access control, RBAC, ensures that employees receive system access based on their job responsibilities, reducing the risk of unauthorized data exposure and privilege abuse. Security awareness training involves educating employees on security best practices, phishing awareness, and regulatory compliance requirements to prevent human security breaches. Offboarding and access revocation ensures that organizations immediately terminate system access when employees leave the company, preventing unauthorized access to corporate data and systems. Challenges in embedding cybersecurity in human resources practices often lead to gaps in security policy enforcement, inconsistent access to control management, and increased risk of insider-driven security incidents. One common issue is failure to conduct security awareness training for employees, where organizations do not provide structured security education, leading to employees unknowingly engaging in risky behaviors, such as falling for phishing scams or mishandling sensitive data. Another issue is delays in revoking system access for departing employees, resulting in former employees retaining unauthorized access to corporate systems, increasing the risk of data breaches or malicious insider activities. Some organizations mistakenly believe that cybersecurity is solely the responsibility of IT teams, without recognizing that human resources plays a crucial role in enforcing security policies, managing personnel security risks, and fostering a culture of security awareness across the workforce. When organizations effectively embed cybersecurity in human resources practices, they improve workforce security awareness, enhance insider threat prevention, and ensure that security policies are consistently enforced throughout the employee lifecycle. A structured cybersecurity workforce management model ensures that employees understand their security responsibilities, access permissions are properly managed, and cybersecurity is integrated into all aspects of talent acquisition, training, and performance evaluations. Organizations that implement formalized security training programs, enforce structured access management policies, and integrate security considerations into human resources governance develop a resilient cybersecurity framework that reduces personnel security risks and strengthens overall security culture. Organizations that fail to integrate cybersecurity into human resources practices face significant security risks, operational inefficiencies, and compliance challenges. Without structured security policies in HR processes, organizations struggle with insufficient employee security awareness, inconsistent access control enforcement, and weak insider threat management strategies, increasing the likelihood of data breaches, unauthorized system access, and regulatory violations. A common issue is neglecting cybersecurity in the hiring process, where organizations fail to conduct security background checks or assess cybersecurity knowledge for roles that require access to sensitive data, leading to increased risks of insider threats and corporate espionage. Another major challenge is inconsistent enforcement of security offboarding procedures, where former employees retain system access for extended periods after leaving the company, increasing the risk of unauthorized access and data leaks. By embedding cybersecurity into human resources practices, organizations ensure that employees at all levels understand their security responsibilities, access permissions are managed effectively, and insider threats are minimized. A structured approach to cybersecurity integration within HR strengthens security culture, enhances compliance with data protection regulations, and ensures that security governance is enforced consistently across the workforce. Organizations that implement cybersecurity-aware hiring practices, enforce structured employee security training programs, and integrate cybersecurity risk management into workforce planning improve their ability to reduce personnel security risks and foster a proactive, security-conscious workplace environment. At the partial tier, organizations lack formal cybersecurity integration in HR policies, leading to inconsistent employee security training, informal access management practices, and minimal awareness of insider threats. Cybersecurity considerations are not included in hiring, training, or offboarding processes, leaving security enforcement entirely dependent on ad hoc IT intervention. A small business at this level may hire employees without conducting cybersecurity background checks, provide no formal security training, and rely on manual user access revocation when employees leave, increasing the risk of human-driven security incidents. At the risk-informed tier, organizations begin to recognize the need for structured cybersecurity integration into HR practices, ensuring that employees receive periodic security training and access control policies are partially enforced. However, cybersecurity workforce management efforts remain fragmented, with HR and IT teams operating independently rather than collaboratively. A mid-sized company at this level may implement annual security training programs and establish basic role-based access controls, but fail to ensure that departing employees' system access is revoked immediately, leaving open security gaps. At the repeatable tier, organizations implement fully structured cybersecurity workforce management policies, ensuring that cybersecurity is embedded into hiring, onboarding, training, and offboarding processes. Cybersecurity governance is formalized, and leadership actively supports workforce security awareness programs and access control enforcement. A financial institution at this stage may require mandatory security awareness training for all employees, enforce multi-factor authentication for role-based access control, and establish automated access revocation policies upon employee departure. At the adaptive tier, organizations employ AI-driven identity management solutions, real-time workforce security analytics, and continuous security awareness training platforms to ensure that cybersecurity risk management remains integrated into HR processes dynamically. Cybersecurity workforce management is fully embedded into enterprise-wide security governance, ensuring that hiring decisions, employee training, and access control policies evolve alongside emerging cyber threats. A global technology company at this level may leverage AI-based employee behavior monitoring tools, real-time access management automation, and continuous adaptive trust models to dynamically adjust security privileges based on employee roles, risk levels, and behavioral patterns. Cybersecurity workforce integration aligns with multiple controls in the National Institute of Standards and Technology, Special Publication 800-53, ensuring that organizations implement structured cybersecurity governance and personnel security management frameworks. One key control is PS-3 personnel screening, which requires organizations to conduct background checks and security screenings for employees, ensuring that individuals in sensitive roles meet security qualifications and pose minimal risk to enterprise data and systems. A defense contractor implementing this control may establish structured pre-employment screening policies for personnel working with classified data, ensuring that security risks are identified before employment begins. Another key control is AC-6, least privilege, which mandates that organizations enforce access control restrictions, ensuring that employees only receive the minimum level of access necessary to perform their job functions. A healthcare organization implementing this control may establish role-based access control for electronic health record systems, ensuring that only authorized medical personnel can access patient data, reducing the risk of unauthorized information disclosure. Cybersecurity workforce integration also aligns with PS-5 personnel transfer, which requires organizations to update employee access privileges and security training requirements when personnel change roles, ensuring that security responsibilities align with evolving job functions. This control ensures that organizations monitor employee access throughout their tenure, preventing unnecessary access privileges from accumulating and reducing insider threat risks. A financial institution implementing this control may establish automated role-based access control adjustments, ensuring that employees transitioning between departments receive only the necessary system permissions for their new responsibilities, while previous access is revoked immediately. These controls can be adapted based on organizational size, industry, and cybersecurity maturity. A small business may implement basic cybersecurity workforce management policies, ensuring that employees receive security training upon hiring and system access is revoked manually upon departure. A large enterprise may deploy automated identity and access management (AI) solutions, AI-driven insider threat detection platforms, and continuous security training programs to ensure that cybersecurity workforce governance remains aligned with enterprise-wide security objectives. Organizations in highly regulated industries such as healthcare, government contracting, and finance may require formalized security clearance policies, real-time employee risk scoring, and continuous behavioral monitoring of personnel to mitigate insider threats and ensure regulatory compliance. Auditors assess cybersecurity workforce integration by reviewing whether organizations have structured, documented, and continuously enforced personnel security management policies. They evaluate whether organizations implement structured security training programs, enforce access control policies based on job roles, and ensure that cybersecurity responsibilities are incorporated into performance evaluations. If an organization fails to integrate cybersecurity into workforce management, auditors may issue findings highlighting gaps in personnel security governance, weak enforcement of access control policies, and failure to align cybersecurity workforce initiatives with risk management objectives. To verify compliance, auditors seek specific types of evidence. Cybersecurity workforce policies and security role assignment documentation demonstrate that organizations formally define and enforce personnel security governance measures. Employee security training records and compliance certification reports provide insights into whether organizations ensure that all personnel receive structured cybersecurity awareness education based on their job functions. Access control logs and identity management audit reports show whether organizations proactively manage employee system access, ensuring that security privileges remain aligned with workforce responsibilities and regulatory requirements. A compliance success scenario could involve a global healthcare provider that undergoes an audit and provides evidence that cybersecurity workforce policies are fully enforced, ensuring that employee background checks are conducted, security training programs are mandatory, and access privileges are dynamically adjusted based on job functions. Auditors confirm that cyber risks associated with personnel security are proactively mitigated, security policies are enforced consistently across the workforce, and cybersecurity workforce management remains aligned with industry compliance requirements. In contrast, an organization that fails to enforce cybersecurity workforce security policies, neglects security training for employees, or lacks structured access control enforcement mechanisms may receive audit findings for poor personnel security governance, weak enforcement of workforce cybersecurity responsibilities, and failure to integrate security risk management into human resources processes. Organizations face multiple barriers in ensuring cybersecurity workforce integration. One major challenge is lack of alignment between cybersecurity and human resources departments, where HR teams do not prioritize cybersecurity training, leading to gaps in employee security awareness and inconsistent security role enforcement. Another challenge is manual and inefficient identity and access management processes, where organizations struggle to revoke system access promptly when employees leave or change roles, increasing the risk of unauthorized access and data breaches. A final challenge is failure to provide continuous security awareness training, where organizations limit cybersecurity education to onboarding rather than reinforcing security best practices through ongoing training initiatives. Organizations can overcome these barriers by implementing structured cybersecurity workforce governance frameworks, integrating security responsibilities into HR processes, and leveraging AI-driven access management and behavioral monitoring solutions, investing in automated identity governance platforms, continuous workforce security training programs, and predictive insider threat detection tools ensures that organizations dynamically assess, monitor, and mitigate personnel cybersecurity risks. Standardizing cybersecurity workforce management strategies across departments, subsidiaries, and external business partners ensures that workforce security responsibilities are consistently enforced, reducing exposure to insider threats, and strengthening enterprise-wide cybersecurity resilience. By embedding cybersecurity workforce governance into enterprise risk management strategies, organizations enhance personnel security, improve regulatory compliance, and ensure sustainable cybersecurity workforce readiness in an evolving cyber threat landscape. That wraps up today's discussion on framework. Don't stop here. Head over to cyberauthor.me to explore more cybersecurity topics and discover a best-selling book covering NIST and other critical cyber frameworks. Please like, rate, and review this episode on Apple and Spotify. Until next time, remember that knowledge is power.